Asterisk, sound of a frantic 911 call, slightly muffled, then a woman's indignant voice cutting through. Yes, 911. My neighbor is vandalizing her own property. She's painting her gate blue. It's an outrage. You need to send someone immediately. Cut to a smiling woman calmly painting a vibrant blue gate, then a dramatic slow-motion zoom on the face of a furious Karen-type character. She called the cops on my wife for this. What she didn't know was exactly who she was messing with. And when she found out, she froze. You won't believe what happened next. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon, the kind where the air hums with the promise of summer, and the only sound you expect to hear is the gentle rustle of leaves. My wife, Sarah, was happily painting the old, faded gate of our cabin a fresh, welcoming shade of blue. We'd bought the cabin in the serene, heavily wooded community of Oakhaven Lakes a few months prior, dreaming of quiet weekends and an escape from city life. What we got instead was Karen. Not long after Sarah started, a perfectly coiffed blonde woman, whose face was so taut it looked like it might crack, power-walked towards our property. Her name, we'd soon learn, was Brenda, but Sarah and I quickly dubbed her HOA Karen. Brenda stopped abruptly at the edge of our driveway, hands on her hips, scrutinizing Sarah's every brushstroke as if she were defacing a national monument. What exactly do you think you're doing? Brenda's voice was sharp, cutting through the peaceful afternoon like a siren. Sarah, ever the calm one, paused, brush in hand. Just repainting our gate, Brenda. It was looking a bit weathered. Brenda scoffed, her perfectly manicured finger pointing accusingly at the gate. That gate is a communal aesthetic element. You can't just go changing its color without HOA approval. It's in the bylaws, Section 3, Subsection C, Exterior Modifications and Community Harmony. She recited it like a mantra, her eyes narrowed. Sarah, still smiling, replied, I did check the bylaws, actually. It states that individual homeowners are responsible for the maintenance and aesthetic upkeep of their primary gate. And nowhere does it specify color restrictions for primary gates. Brenda's face flushed. Well, it's implied. We have a certain standard of uniformity here. This blue, it's an eyesore. It clashes with the natural wood tones of the community. The argument escalated, with Brenda becoming increasingly agitated, while Sarah remained frustratingly, to Brenda, at least, composed. Finally, Brenda pulled out her phone, a dramatic flourish accompanying the action. That's it. I'm calling the authorities. You are in direct violation of community guidelines, and I will not stand by while you devalue my property with your whimsical paint choices. Sarah just shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. Go ahead, Brenda. And she did. Brenda actually called 911. We could hear her indignant squawking about unauthorized gate alteration and community desecration. Sarah and I exchanged amused glances. This was going to be good. Within 15 minutes, a patrol car pulled up. Officer Miller, a friendly local cop we'd met briefly at the town's annual pie-eating contest, stepped out, a bewildered expression on his face. Brenda immediately launched into a frantic explanation, gesturing wildly at the offending blue gate and then at Sarah, as if she were a hardened criminal. Officer Miller listened patiently, occasionally glancing at us with a look that clearly conveyed, "You've got to be kidding me." When Brenda finally paused for breath, he turned to Sarah. "Everything all right here, ma'am?" "Perfectly fine, officer," Sarah said sweetly. "Just painting our gate. Brenda here seems to think it's a federal offense." Officer Miller suppressed a chuckle. "Ma'am," he addressed Brenda, his tone firm but polite, "I understand your concerns about community standards, but this isn't a police matter. A homeowner painting their own gate, especially when there's no specific bylaw against the color, is not something we can intervene in." Brenda's jaw dropped. But she's ruining the aesthetic. This is an exclusive community." Officer Miller sighed. "Perhaps you should take this up with the HOA board, ma'am. Not 911. He then turned to leave, but before he could, a sleek black SUV with tinted windows pulled up behind the patrol car. Out stepped a stern-looking man in a perfectly tailored suit, flanked by two equally serious-looking individuals. Brenda, still fuming, didn't notice them at first. Officer Miller, however, recognized the man immediately and snapped to attention. "Mr. Henderson!" Officer Miller exclaimed, a hint of surprise in his voice. Brenda, finally turning, saw the new arrivals. Her eyes widened, and her confident demeanor faltered. Mr. Henderson was not just a resident. He was the developer of Oakhaven Lakes, a man whose name was synonymous with wealth and power in the region. More importantly, he was the president of the HOA. Mr. Henderson approached, his gaze sweeping over the scene, the blue gate, the patrol car, a flustered Brenda, and a serenely smiling Sarah. "Officer Miller, what seems to be the trouble here?" His voice was deep, authoritative. Officer Miller quickly explained the situation, doing his best to summarize Brenda's rather theatrical complaint. As he spoke, Mr. Henderson's eyes landed on Sarah, and a slow, almost imperceptible smile touched his lips. Brenda, seizing the opportunity, interjected, "Mr. Henderson, this woman is painting her gate a completely inappropriate color. It's a disgrace to the community, and she refuses to listen to reason or the bylaws." Mr. Henderson raised an eyebrow, his gaze still fixed on Sarah. "Is that so?" He then turned his full attention to Brenda, and his expression hardened. "Brenda, you seem to have a misunderstanding. Not just about the bylaws, but about who you're speaking to." He then gestured toward Sarah. "This is Sarah Miller. And this," he gestured to me, standing silently beside Sarah, "is her husband, David Miller. Sarah and David are my daughter and son-in-law. This cabin, which they generously purchased to be closer to us, was a gift from me. And as for the gate's color," he paused, a twinkle in his eye as he looked at the blue, "I think it's a charming shade. In fact, I believe it adds a touch of personality to our otherwise rather uniform community." The color drained from Brenda's face. Her mouth opened and closed several times, but no sound came out. Her carefully constructed facade crumbled, revealing a woman utterly mortified. She had called 911 on the daughter of the HOA president, the very man who could, with a mere flick of his wrist, make her life in Oakhaven Lakes very uncomfortable. Officer Miller stifled a laugh, shaking his head. "Well, that explains it, sir." He then tipped his hat to us. "Looks like everything's settled here. Have a good afternoon." And with that, he drove off. Mr. Henderson watched Brenda, who was now visibly trembling, with an almost imperceptible smirk. "Brenda, I suggest you familiarize yourself more thoroughly with the HOA bylaws, and perhaps consider a more neighborly approach to future concerns." He then turned to Sarah and me, his stern demeanor softening instantly. "Sarah, David, lovely to see you. That blue really is quite fetching." Brenda mumbled a barely audible apology, her face crimson, and practically fled down the driveway. From that day on, we never had another issue with HOA Karen. The blue gate remained, a vibrant symbol of our little victory. And while Oakhaven Lakes was still serene, it now had a touch of unexpected color, a reminder that even in the most tightly controlled communities, a little bit of personality and knowing the right people can go a long way. And sometimes, the most attention-grabbing words are simply, "She's my daughter." Alright, if you got a kick out of seeing Karen get put in her place, then smash that like button harder than Brenda slammed down her phone. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you don't miss our next wild HOA adventure. What's the craziest neighbor story you've got? Let us know in the comments below. We love reading them. See you next time.